You're not like everyone else, and that's your advantage. So, this message is for a collective that doesn't fit in. This is a collective that realized over time, with many, many years of experience, that the reason why you don't fit in is because you're meant to create your own community. And sometimes it feels weird because you've had that realization. You realize that you've also wasted a lot of time trying to fit in, trying to be part of a group, or quote unquote find your soul tribe, which, by the way, you didn't waste time, because that was a lesson in itself. Because you focused on things outside of yourself, because you focused on the 3D, the circumstances, the external, this is why you kept going through a loop, right? Because you thought you were connecting and you thought you met your community, and then something happened, and then you had to like be alone for a while and then find another community, and then you've been through that a couple times. And that journey of trying to find your community was a journey of remembrance, of self-love, of remembering that everything comes from you. So when you started to actually focus on yourself, focus on your goals, focus on what you want to create and your own garden, the irony is that you started detaching from the need of wanting a community. Therefore, this is how you've created your community. Isn't it ironic that when you started focusing on yourself and you started focusing on what you love and what you love sharing, and actually detaching, so you're not doing it from a place of desperation of, oh, if I do this type of content, I'm gonna have this and that, and this is going to happen, because that's the ego trying to control everything of like the how and when. But once you've detached from that, when you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna do me, like I don't even need people, like I don't need anything, this is when you became so magnetic, so attractive. And it's almost like this image of, you know, when you create this garden and then you have this like beautiful garden with all these different flowers that are just blooming and smelling so good. And now, because you have this amazing garden, guess what? You're having all these butterflies and birds and squirrels and like all these like little animals that are coming to your garden to enjoy it. You're having bees as well, insects, all of them. But yeah, like your goal was just to create a garden. Like you weren't thinking, oh, if I do that, you know, I'm gonna feed all those different animals, you know, like it was just like a consequence of it. But that was the journey. So you did not waste time. That was the journey. You had to go through this to be like fed up and be like, you know what, I'm done. So you could detach properly, like from a place that's like genuine, right? You're not just faking being like detached. Like, no, you actually did not care. And so because you went through that process, you were able to do and create what your soul is actually meant to do here, through detachment, through focusing on yourself, through self-love. And you being different and not being like everyone else is what attracted people to you. Because there's nothing more boring than someone who is basically a copy of someone else. it's boring. Like, people can feel it, people can sense it. So when you're actually focused on yourself and focused on creating what you love, even though, like, especially when you're doing it from a place of like, I don't care what people think about what I'm creating. Like, I literally do not give a fuck. Like, I just don't, So when you're creating from that space, you're actually creating from, like I said, self-love. You're creating from a space of authenticity, and that is the highest frequency on earth. That's why it's so magnetic. That's why people go viral on TikTok, because this is what's happening. Like, listen to people who go viral on TikTok. Usually what happens is that they did not have a strategy. They literally just opened their phone and posted something without any like goal in mind. Because that's the space where we have to create. But the journey to go there is usually uncomfortable, because for a lot of people, like, you have to go through deception, you have to go through betrayal, you have to go through rejection, abandonment. Like, there's a lot of different themes, that we might experience to fully detach and to look inward. And so your advantage is that you've gone through that process without even like knowing. And your advantage is that you're so unique and you've created from a place of authenticity. So all the things that you thought were bad in the past, like you being weird, or you being not being weird, but you've been called weird, or you've been called, different, or you've been, the black sheep. All these things that made you feel rejected or abandoned are the exact things that are making you attract your community now. Like, isn't it ironic? But like I said, the detachment had to happen. And of course, that process is not fun. But you've made it. You did it. You've made it. And no, you're not going to have to go through this again, because now things are coming from you. So people cannot take it. They can't take it away from you. They cannot destroy what Mother Earth gave you and created with you. This is like long-lasting, permanent stability and blessing. All right, so that's it for today's message. Let me know if it resonates, and I'll see you tomorrow.